Cash Flow Diary Podcast, episode 38.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the Cash Flow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
All right, welcome. Glad that you are here. I know that you probably noticed that this is an episode that isn't an interview. It's time for me to talk to you for a little minute. And I think there's to me, it's a very important subject. It's something that is a little contrarian, maybe even possibly completely different in the way that you normally think, but it's been a very huge, big part of, I don't know to call it a secret or what have you, when it comes to achieving things in the new year. And one of the things that totally annoys me right now is that you probably have heard, at least on the radio or TV and all these other things, because I've been still, running business, doing what we do. And I'm starting to get the, well, we'll take care of it next year comment. And I'm like, man, this year isn't over yet. Why are we pushing things off until next year? Anyway, that's a lot of what we're going to talk about this particular episode. But I got something extremely, exciting to me. And I know it'll be exciting for you as well, because I get a question from all of you, actually, whether it be emails or when you've seen me on stage or in person. It doesn't really matter. The most frequently asked question I get is, how do I find the money? Where is the money? How do I get access to the money? If I just had the money, Jay, I would do tons of real estate. All this other stuff is what's going down. I hope you are listening right now, because if you are, I want you to go over to learninvestingnow.com. Let me tell you why. I've taken the time to reduce my thoughts on how to raise private capital. How to raise private capital all the way down. It's in an ebook at the moment. Now, if you've been following me for any length of time, you understand that what we typically do is we'll do an ebook first. We'll do 3 1-hour coaching calls live with me. That's usually how it goes. Okay. So you get 3 1-hour coaching calls with me. And then for a select few of you, we get to go over into a private mastermind group where we take that very specific topic and drill on it for 12 weeks straight until you get it. And by get it in this case, I'm going to teach those individuals inside that mastermind group how to raise their first $100,000. Now, I know that right now we still have like 16 days left in this year. However, here's what I also know. I know that in that 16-day period, some of you could come up with your first $100,000 easily. Now, here's the point. Go to learninvestingnow.com, download the ebook, because that's step number 1. If you don't download the ebook, you're never going to know about the coaching calls. You're not going to be invited, and you'll never have a chance to be a part of the mastermind group. And at the end of the day, if you've ever said to yourself, if I just had the money, or if I just had the credit, I would do tons of real estate or business or what have you, then you need to go there. Now, let me also say this, because for some of my friends and associates out there, I want you to know that what we're going to be talking about isn't just real estate specific. I've used this information for cars. Others, you could use the same information if you want to start a movie, if you want to write a book, whatever it is that you needed large amounts of capital for, or smaller amounts. It doesn't really matter the amount. What matters is giving you a system that allows you to have access to the individuals who are willing to actually give you money for for your own deal. That's the most important part for you to understand that we're going to spend our time doing. I'm going to make sure that you understand how I do it. And for those of you who actually duplicate, you'll have the ability to go out there and get your own capital for your own deals, for your own purposes. I don't want any of the money you raise. It's just simply me showing you how to get it done. So again, I know I spend a lot of time talking about this right here on the front of the episode, and you know I don't normally do this, but it's that important. I've seen what learning this skill has done for people. I've seen people, especially this year, some people who have worked with me in one-on-one capacities. They've been able to buy their first apartment complexes. They've been able to buy their. I know one guy bought his first duplex. One guy's up to like 13 units now. I mean, there's so many different benefits from feeling confident about being able to attract and raise and use other people's money. And at the end of the day, people ask me all the time, how do I get access to OPM, other people's money, right? And here's a quick thought that I want to lay on you for a second. Some of you listening to me, you went to college, or if you're overseas, yeah, you university, post secondary school, after high school, whatever you call it. Some of you went to college, and when you were a senior, you may or may not, depending on your grades, right? You probably didn't. Maybe you didn't have the ability to get a scholarship, or you weren't talented in sports, so they didn't recruit you and pay for your school. And you were trying to figure out how you were going to school. Now, here's the thing. I want you to hear me clearly. There was never a doubt in your mind that you were going. The only doubt was how were you going to pay for it? And even at that point, it didn't stop you from going as far as you could see. And when you got there, you could see further. But here's the key point that I want to say. Many of you still made it to school. Are you trying to tell me that when you were a teenager in high school, that you knew how to raise capital better than you do now? Because that's exactly what teenagers do, right? I've got my my oldest daughter right now. She just got her first acceptance letter for, I believe it was one of the universities of Colorado. Anyway, the point is now she's got to learn how to raise capital, right? She's got to learn how to raise capital to go to school. And we've all done this before. You've done it. I mean, we do it all the time, but we've got to figure out how to put it in a proper framework. Now, and to be clear, when I talk about raising capital, I'm not talking about the kind of capital where it needs a positive credit score, because if I was, well, that would be a completely different thing. And that doesn't mean you can't do that. It just means it's not what I've done. As many of you know, if you haven't, and if you don't know what I mean when what I've done, go back and listen to episode number 1. Episode number 1 will give you some information on, how I got started, and maybe that you care about that. Maybe you don't. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, and all you want is results. Again, that's why I decided to go down this path of creating, the ebook and making sure that the information is available to you. And for those of you who don't know, what originally started all this was the fact that as things began to get better for myself and my wife, what I wanted to do is I wanted to preserve our greatest asset that we had at the time. And many people think asset means money. That's not what I meant at all. It's the knowledge. It's like if something happened to me, I wanted to make sure that my kids had the ability to know what dad thought about certain things so that they could go out there and create a life for themselves without needing to be dependent on a job. And in that process, it hit me that some of you might actually want the same information. So it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. And if I've helped you, great. I appreciate that. In fact, feel free to leave a comment on iTunes so that other people can find me. That would be great. I would love for that to happen. Now, and understand, it's not just because I want you to say nice things about me. Now, mind you, I don't mind them. But at the same time, it helps, the rankings. It helps us be found by other people. And if you've enjoyed something that you've heard, please leave it there. Or you can feel free to call into the show, 800-689-1764, 800-689-1764. Feel free to call in, leave a message. That is not a live answer phone. There's no way we could have a live answer phone with everyone around the world listening to us. So 800-689-1764. We will do our best to get back to you. We answer emails. I answer many of them. And again, I just want to make sure that you guys understand. Raising private capital, it is the key. It has been such a key for me. And to be clear, for some of you, I know some of you are thinking, oh, he's just going to tell us about retirement plans, etc. No, that's where to find the capital. Even if you know where to find it, you don't know how to gain access to it. That's the key. And it doesn't matter whether it's your money or your retirement plan or not. That the point is that many of you out there, I know you've got great ideas for products and for services that could do that could improve the quality of life of many people. So, what you're missing are the tools necessary to be able to go out there and get access to the money. So that's what we're going to talk about. Definitely. Now, keywords here, depending on when you're listening to this, the coaching calls may have already started. I know they're starting really, really fast. So go over to learninvestingnow.com, download the ebook, get the email, get connected so that you can get access to those coaching calls. Okay. Ask me all the questions. Read the ebook before if you can. If not, no big deal. But please try to, so that we can get the most out of the limited time that we do have, so that everybody can walk out of there being able to know, hey, what their next steps are and what they got to do. Now, that was a long, long commercial. Hopefully you understand that that was very important. It's just very important to me. But let's continue with our cash quote for this particular episode. It simply says, some men have thousands of reasons why they cannot do what they want to do. All they need is one reason why they can. That came to us from Willis Rodney Whitney. Lived between August 22nd, 1868 and January 9th, 1958. An American chemist and founder of the research laboratory of the General Electric Company. Obviously a very intelligent individual, but what I like is that air of possibility. That's the thing that it's a challenge to hold on to, right? Some men have thousands of reasons why they cannot do what they want to do. I know that all of us can come up with thousands of reasons why something won't work, why it's not the right time, how it doesn't make sense, etc., etc. That it'll be better next year. It'll be better next week. I'll start next Monday. I'm too tall. I'm too short. Whatever it is that you want to say. But all you really need is one reason why you can do something. And if that's you, no, because I believe you can. Because you have that ability within you. And here's the key. When we're afraid, any excuse will do. I'm sure you've heard me say that before, but that's the truth. When we're afraid, when I'm afraid, when you are afraid, any excuse will do. And we'll grab the one, here's the key, we'll grab the one that we know our friends will agree with the easiest first. That'll be the first one we grab. Whatever ones we got, I don't have time. Oh, it's Christmas. Oh, I have holidays. Or it's my kid's birthday. Oh, whatever excuse it is that we can get the most validation for the easiest, that'll be the one that we latch onto, because all of our friends around us will gladly and easily say, hey, that's why you can't do it. Yeah, it makes sense. I have the same issue, blah, 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 blah. All you need is one reason why you can. And your commitment to continue listening, your commitment to continue taking action, your commitment to going in the correct directions and doing the things that are necessary for yourself and your family are the reasons why. Because the pain you feel is the reason why you should. Period. All right. Anyway, I haven't talked to you in a while. We've been doing lots of interviews. Hopefully you found some value in those interviews. But this is a critical time of year for most of us. Right now, many of you, depending on what part of the world you're in, etc., you're in this mode where you could possibly think now is the time to relax. Now is the time to take your foot off the pedal. Now is the time to just chill. Well, here's something that I want to share with you. You're an entrepreneur. Whether that's a small business, big business, investor, doesn't matter. You're an entrepreneur. The reason you're listening to my voice is because you are or want to become a better entrepreneur, period. And one of the things that entrepreneurs do is that we work when others don't. So we don't have to do what others won't, right? Here's my point. We spend our quote unquote free time to create an asset so that those who want to enjoy their free time have something to do. We're the ones that hunker down during the time when everyone else takes off so that we can let someone else take of our ingenuity, of our energy, of our intellectual property in small pieces for a fee so that they can enjoy their time, be that by creating a movie, by creating a song. I mean, I don't know about you. I've been recently listening to the. Okay, here's another thing you're gonna learn about me. I love a cappella music. Occasionally, I've been known to sing, and the group Pentatonics is absolutely awesome. My daughter and I listen to it all the time. My wife and I we're all listening to it. And Little Drummer Boy, by far favorite Christmas song on the planet. And let's just think about this for a moment. They took the time to create that song. And many of us, maybe you went and downloaded it. Maybe you played it on what is that, YouTube, and then you downloaded it on iTunes. Now, when you downloaded it on iTunes, it didn't cost but what, $1.29, maybe 99 cents. I don't know. The point is, they took their time to create something that we would enjoy, and we gladly exchange $1.29 to be able to hear that over and over and over again. But that's my point. That's what you and I do. Maybe we do it with real estate, right? And as we do so, we learn to develop those assets. Maybe you're a writer and you want to be able to do you spend your time right now honing your skills so that you become a better writer. But part of that is personal development. Part of that is just understanding the reason for networking and getting and expanding and having a purpose behind everything that you do. Here's my point right now. If you're like, any human on the planet, you're being invited to Christmas parties and you've got obligations to go here and to go there. Well, it's not the time to lose focus. Okay. Here's what I mean. I was over the weekend at a party, and one of the conversations, again, guys, I was not I wasn't trying to participate in this conversation or anything of that nature. Many of you know, if you invite me to the party, I am going to find a dark corner, grab some chips, sit there, and be happy. Because as I've said before, naturally introverted, shy person. That's what I like to do, is hang out in the corner. That's where I recharge. It's fun. Anyway, I'm at the party, and the conversation turns to how one guy's having issues with a real estate property and it's in a living trust and all this is going down. And then this other person, mind you, not an attorney of any kind, is giving him advice on how to make all this stuff happen. And in the back of my head, I'm just going, if there was an attorney here, somebody was here right now who represented or knew the how to straighten out these legal matters, he could have multiple leads right now, because everyone's listening who's listening is a potential client. And even myself, right? And they would have just, if they were just focused and in the room. Now, here's my point. Conversations like that are happening at every Christmas party. Now, also in that same conversation, I know that they were talking about real estate. It just so happens that, the location of the real estate that they were talking about is one that I'm not personally interested in. However, if you were, could that have been a conversation in which you could present yourself as a solution? Here's my point. When people go to these parties, one of the things that comes up all the time are the challenges that are going on. The major purpose of networking is to hear the challenges of others so that you can position yourself as a possible solution. So when you're out there, please listen for these challenges. They're coming at you. They're being volunteered. And you didn't even have to do the work, the marketing, the nothing to get the people all in the room. It was all done for you, unless you're the one hosting the party, of course. Then, of course, you did the work, etc., etc. However, a lot of the work was done for you because, hey, everyone knows they're going to be invited to a party and it's party time, right? So understand that these conversations, these natural inclinations are there. Okay. So now is the time. Now is quote unquote go time. We still have days left in this month. Okay. Before the new year. Don't start putting things off to the new year. Do today's work today. Right. And if you're wondering where I got that from, it's a book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. If you go over to the virtual book club on the website, you'll be able to see it. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is do today's work today. Get it done, because now is a great time. In fact, right now, my team and we're working very diligently because we're creating assets, as many assets as we possibly can, to make the videos and the recordings and all the things that are necessary to make sure that things are ready. Because guess what's going to happen after the new year? You and your friends are all going to say, because I'm saying the same thing, is how can I do better next year, right? It doesn't matter how good you did this year, you want to do better next year. I don't know a soul that ever says I want to do worse. But if and there, we're all looking forward to the new year, looking forward to making things better. Well, let me ask you this: what do you think would happen if you started working on that today? What does January look like if you started working on that today instead of waiting till January actually hit? I know a few weeks ago, my team and I got together, did a quick roundtable, if you will, on what we wanted to have happen inside of 2014. What were some of the real estate goals, portfolio goals, goals for the listing audience? What did we want to see you guys achieve? And we threw some things out there that we think we could help with, and we are taking action towards them. But that was back in November when we were thinking about this. And I just want to reiterate, and now is go time. Can you tell that when people started telling me put it off to next year, it got a little under my skin. I felt like we needed to address it because I don't want you guys to do that. I don't want you to think that that's somehow okay. Don't put off what you can do now. Don't write it off. Just because the government tries to shut down doesn't mean you should. Okay, it is time for you and I. We're the small business marketing engine behind the United States and behind our countries in most cases. So we need to go out there and do what we do. All right, keep that in mind. All right, let's get to the cash flow question real fast, and then we'll get to one other thing that I want to make sure that we talk about. Last time, the question was, when is legal counsel the least expensive? And if you've ever employed legal counsel, you really know that legal counsel is the least expensive before you need it, period. And for those of you who got that right, congratulations, because you got a signed copy of the book, upcoming book, The Cash Flow Creation System, coming to you once we get it released. Because yeah, you know that if you've ever paid for legal counsel, it's so much better to do it on the front end than on the back end. But at the end of the day, get it done. Even if it's on the back end, it's better than not doing it. Don't be afraid of attorneys and legal counsel, because they should be on your side. They're there to advise you, not to tell you what to do. Please hear the difference. Not to tell you what to do, but to give you options. And you should be asking them questions. Okay, if I go down this path, what happens, and what are the options are there, and how else could we do this, or how else could we achieve our goals? They are not there to make the decisions for you, although unfortunately many times we do use them in that capacity. But you should definitely know that you should engage legal counsel before you absolutely need it. All right, this week's question, for those of you who are playing and participating sports fans, phone number 800-689-1764, 800-689-1764, or you can email your answers in for this week's question to cashflowquestion@cashflowdiary.com. Here is the question. In our previous episode, i.e., the episode just before this one, which United States legal entity was suggested for holding long-term rental property? I repeat, in our previous episode, which United States legal entity was suggested for holding long-term rental property? Again, send your answer in. You can call it in at 800-689-1764 or email it in to cashflow question at cashflowdiary.com. And remember, when you send in your answer, you gotta send in an address, because we can't email you a physical book. It just doesn't work that way. All right. With that being said, let's get to the second thing that I want to talk about, because at the end of the day, you guys know that I like the phrase now o'clock. Now o'clock. Because there's no other time but now o'clock. Most of the things that you want solved, you want them solved in now o'clock. You say you want more money. Great. When did you want that? Now o'clock. You say you want it to be free of any sort of debts or liabilities. When did you want that? Now o'clock. Anything that you wanted to improve, most of us want it, and in the time frame of now o'clock. We can only act in the time of now o'clock. So keep that in mind. Here's something I want you to here's something I want you to think about though. On this whole concept of it being go time. I don't want you to think it's just something I made up. It's not something that I'm just saying that, because I want you to ask yourself this question. Since Black Friday, or the Friday after Thanksgiving in the United States, it's typically called Black Friday if you don't know. Okay. And, but ask yourself this question. Since Black Friday, have you seen more or less commercials for products and services? Which do you think it's been? More or less? Now, do you need any scientific evidence to know that it was, well, a lot more, right? You don't need any evidence for that. That's because every retail company, every service provider, anybody who's got something to sell knows that right now is go time. This is when they pour it on, period. They work most of the year, a lot of the year, for this particular time of the year. But that's my point. So let's just take a clue, quote unquote, from the big guys. This is the time, and here's what's really, really unique for you and I, the small business owner, etc. Here's what's really unique. Because it is a contrarian view, now is the time when you can gain market share in your respective markets, usually against any other investors in your marketplace. Why? Because they stop their marketing. They stop mailing. They stop their activities, their promotion activities. For whatever reason, they stop them. Maybe they say, well, it's not going to be as effective because everyone else is going to be shopping. Great. Does that mean nobody's doing business? No, it doesn't mean that. I mean, it may seem a little far-fetched, but maybe someone wants to buy a house for their friend or wife or, kid as a rental property. Here's a here's a Christmas present. You got a rental property. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're a wholesaler, now would be a great time to take that angle, right? Here's a good way to make a Christmas present, right? There are people out there who would, I'm sure, who have the wherewithal to make something like that happen, but hadn't thought about it. And if you were the wholesaler that had the ability to negotiate seller financing, then you probably got a good deal. In fact, I know that one of the people from our last mastermind group was wholesaling, and what he was able to accomplish was to get I think it was like 41 single family homes under contract. 41. Could you imagine, with seller financing? That just simply, I mean, it was amazing. But the point is, he could have marketed that now as Christmas gifts, which sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, I typically do a lot of business in the fourth quarter. That's just me. That's been the history. That doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. It just is. And I think it's because, things like investments and money become more important to us in the fourth quarter and at the beginning of the first quarter, and we want to do better. And I think this has a lot to do with it. So just keep that in mind. Now is a time where you can gain that market share. Now you may have to work around schedules and do things differently simply because people, yes, have so many other parties and things going on, but that doesn't mean you can't do business. It doesn't mean it's going to be as easy, but we're not looking for easy anyway, right? Who wants easy? Anybody can do easy. You and I, we go out there and we actually make a difference. And sometimes to make a difference, it takes a little bit of extra work. But here's why I'm saying this to you. You got to gain market share, because if you can start January with more market share, oh my goodness, that sets up your 2014 in such a way to where you're able to go out there and capitalize on it. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Then you have all year to keep that market share and expand that market share. And you did it at a time when it would be, quote unquote, easier, simply because there's going to be less noise in the marketplace. And by noise, I mean there aren't as many people doing the same thing, simply because, you know what? Maybe the turkey got them in their sleep, or maybe they're thinking, you know what, I'll wait till the new year. Well, that'd be like having a 2-week head start if you think about it. If you're both running a race, even if you aren't the best runner, but you still have a 2-week head start, 2-week head start on a marathon, I think you're still going to win simply because it won't take you 2 weeks to run it. Even if all you did was run 2 miles a day, by the time they got started, you're finished. And that's kind of what I'm trying to impress upon you right now, that now is the time to go. Now is the time to be engaging and thinking about and writing down those goals and putting the things in order to go out there and get stuff done. I don't want you to be the person that says, hey, let's do this in the new year. No, now o'clock. I hope you heard that, because at the end of the day, we can only act in now o'clock, right? And now is a great time to do it. That's just my perspective. I know that having that perspective has definitely helped myself and my wife build business for quite some time. As I said many, many times, and my numbers prove it, fourth quarter, for a number of years, literally, no matter how good we did during the first 3 quarters, fourth quarter almost always was like just as good. That 190-day period was just as good as the rest of the year. And mind you, the first 3 quarters were really awesome too. It's just interesting that can happen. But I want you to have a different mindset this time when you go to the party. So what does that mean? When you go to the Christmas party, take a business card, take an iPhone, with you with an audio business card already pre-written and filled in on it. If you don't know what that is, well, that's just another reason to go over to learninvestingnow.com and make sure that you're a part of the coaching calls that are coming up. But you can become effective without being annoying at Christmas parties in such a great way. And now is a good time to do it, because it's on other people's minds. They're willing to talk about the challenges that they've had this year and how they want to get better. And at the end of the day, you and I can become part of their solution for a great 2014. Until next time.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cash Flow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, cashflowdiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cash Flow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.